Hello, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to show you a wonderful stitch. It's called right angle weave, and a lot of people shy away from using it because it can be a little bit complicated, but like with everything, once you know how to do it, it's easy. And before I show you, I just wanted to show you a few pieces of work made in right angle weave, just to show you how versatile it is. To start with, this bracelet is backed with a lovely piece of flat right angle weave. It's a brilliant stitch for not only texture and look, but it's great for three-dimensional work. Well, this is circular right angle weave on these rings, and this is a fabulous way of using it three-dimensionally, but with lots of different counts of beads. Today I'm going to show you simple flat right angle weave. So let's have a look at what I'm going to be using. I've got 4-pound fireline, size 12 needle, and 4mm Bicone crystals in two different colours to illustrate the different rows. You'll see when we get to that point. I'll just clear these away and thread up a needle with a piece of thread I've cut already. I won't need a stop bead because the first beads that I pick up are going to be made into a ring, so they won't fall off. So I'm going to start by picking up 4 of the dark blue crystals, and I take them down to leave a reasonable size of tail thread, as long as you're comfortable with it, and I'm going to pass through all 4 of the beads again. Just make a ring. Now it's not much of a ring, but when I pass again through the first bead, and I move the tail thread out of the way and pull them tight, we get this nice little square or diamond formation. And the beads actually arrange themselves, as you can clearly see, at right angles to one another. And this is the nature of right angle weave. This is why it got its name. So that's the first stitch. Now each stitch will need to have these 4 beads in this arrangement. So in fact this one is now going to be shared with the next stitch, so I don't need to pick up 4, I only need to pick up 3. And I'm going to pass the needle in the same direction as the thread is going through it. So it's coming out of the top, and I'm going to pass the needle through so that the needle came out of the top. And as you can see, we now have 2 diamond shapes sitting next to each other. And I'm going to pass through the next adjacent bead and again through the next one. Can you see that each time I pass through a bead, I'm going at right angles to the direction I was passing the last time? And just see a little barb in the tip of the needle. So let's continue. I'll take a next 3 crystals, and this time you'll see the thread is coming out of the bottom of the bead, and I'm going to pass through it again so the needle comes out of the bottom of the bead, and pull them up tightly and just bring myself out so that I'm ready for the next stitch on the outermost bead. And I'm going to do one more stitch, and this time, as you can see, the thread's coming out of the top of the bead. It's alternating, and the reason for that, as I will explain in a second, is if I lay it down, you see the thread is now coming out of the bottom of this bead. What's happened is you change direction with every stitch. the thread path moves around in this direction and then goes in the opposite direction around this for this stitch, and then passes around in this direction and then comes around in this direction, and it will continue doing that, going around in one way, going around the opposite way, and for each stitch and so on. So that's the setup for the first row. Now I'm going to, let's see, I will build on top of the crystals in this direction. So now these crystals here will be shared with the next row. So I'm going to move round and bring the needle out of that top crystal, which is going to be involved in the next row. Turn it over, and I'm just going to settle it in my hand now because I've got something good to grip onto. And I'm going to move over to the white crystals because then you'll see very clearly the difference between the rows. Now, every stitch along here for the first row, I picked up 3, except for the very first one, which I picked up 4. And this one, I've only got 1 shared bead here, so I do need to pick up the other 3 to make the proper little diamond shape. As you can see, there's the shared bead and there are the 3. Now, in order to bring myself out ready to make a new stitch, I've got to come down, and if you can look, what's happened is I've actually got not just 1 bead that I can share, but I've also got this bead that I will be sharing, and they need to be connected, so I'm going to have to pass through that bead in order to start the next stitch. So this time, as I've got 2 shared beads ready, I only need to pick up 2 of the crystals. And I'll move round to where I need to be for the next stitch. And again, I've got 2 beads ready to be shared, but I'm coming out of the top one. As you can see, the same thing happens as you move along. I'm going around in one direction and around in another. So now I need to pick up 2, and I'm going to come around and make a complete ring by going in this direction. I'll pull it up nice and tight and move on, weave on to come out of this next bead to be shared, and this will be the last stitch of the row. I only needed 2, and I'm going down through that one and along through that one to make it, and there we are. And I would just need to weave out to this top bead to get myself ready for the new row. And there are 2 rows of right angle weave for you. Lovely stitch. It's very well illustrated using these Bicone crystals, but as you can see, I've used rather large, they're size 8 seed beads here, and they don't sit as clearly in the formation as the Bicones do, because they've got these nice angled sides. They can sit clearly for you to be able to see. If you can practice with Bicones and get the idea of the thread path, then you'll be well on your way to being able to use the seed beads and master the flat right angle weave, and then you can start working in the circular and in the 3-dimensional forms, which is really exciting. So look out for those videos because I'll be making them soon. Thanks for joining me again. Bye, see you soon.